Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about an interesting version of Fire Kings. This is Fire King of Demise. That is the version that I'm talking about today. Fire King of Demise is a deck that I've always really loved in theory and in testing. And simply because, like, if Kaiser Coliseum wasn't banned, it actually would be an insane deck. The reason I really like this version of this deck is because this deck not really that good of a rank 4 spam deck. It's really more of a stun deck. Or you can build it a card of Demise version, which allows you to get to extra cards, extra power cards, without really sacrificing anything else. Now, there is a problem with the deck and its synergy, but the problem occurs, and I'll explain the problem when I get to card of Demise. But the problem that occurs with this deck is when your deck is running at its most optimum capacity. So for the monsters, 2 Fire King Avatar Yaksha, 2 Fire King Avatar Barong, and 2 Fire King High Avatar Garunix. Now, it is a card of Demise deck, so you don't want to run too many monsters. We'll just go from right to left. The reason we're running 2 Fire King High Avatar Garunixes, the reason we're not running 3 is because it kind of clogs at 3 unless you're running trade in, but you never really want to trade in it, and you really only need 2 to get the big bird loop going off. You're never going to have more than 2 on the field in most circumstances, so 2 is fine. 2 copies of Fire King Avatar Barong. Not 3, because it's a low monster count type of deck. He is the inherent searcher of the deck. He searches everything but himself. If there would be a Fire King card I would run 3 of, it'd be this card, because he's such a good starter card. But like I said, low monster count, because that's actually it for the monsters. 3 copies of Fire Formation Tenki, and 1 copy of Rekindling. Now, Rekindling, you're like, well, that kind of clashes with the deck, because it doesn't, because the card demise in duality. You really actually aren't going to be activating those cards too often. You really only want to get demise and duality off at the start, or if you're in top deck mode and you like desperately need 3 more cards, and card demise can get you there. So usually you're gonna be able to have Rekindling live. And Tenki's the 7th, 8th, and 9th monster in the deck essentially. And most card demise decks that I've ran across have ran around 9-ish monsters, especially if they're not running any pendulum monsters. 3 copies of Terraforming, and then 3 copies of Fire King Island. One day I'm going to have 3 copies of this version of it, but for right now it's just these. I don't really like running 3 copies of this because this card isn't super great if you draw it in multiples. This is your starter. Like, the ideal opening is Terraforming, Tenki, Card of Demise. For the rest of the Fire King cards, we're running 2 copies of the Circle of Fire Kings. This is another card I've been going back and forth on. I really like it. Actually, I really do like this card. This card is super powerful. I just don't like drawing it in multiples because it is such a hard once per turn. If it wasn't a hard once per turn, I think it honestly would always be a 3-of because it's just so actually powerful. You can do some crazy battle phase combos with Barong and Big Bird Garunix. For the draw cards, 1 Upstart Goblin. And then, as you would anticipate, 3 copies of Card of Demise and 2 copies of Pot of Duality. This is the standard ratio that I've found. Now, the problem with this is if it said for the rest, it'd be broken. Now, Card of Demise does say for the rest, your opponent takes no battle damage for the rest of this turn. That's why some people activate it during main phase 2 just to get damage off. But both these cards say you can't special summon during the turn you activate these cards. First off, if they did say that, they'd probably both be banned. Second off, the fact that they say that you can't special summon during the turn you activate this card means if you have the Circle of the Fire Kings going off and standby phase summon Garunix, you can't activate Power Duality Card Demise, so it ends up just sitting in your hand. But if you have Circle of the Fire Kings going, your deck is moving at its most optimum rate. So that's kind of why I'm okay with that. For the defensive spells, 3 Forbidden Chalice, 1 Book of Moon. I had a gold version of Book of Moon. Don't know what happened to it. That's actually it for the spells, though. A lot of spells. This deck is predominantly spells. For the traps, interesting little trap lineup. 3 Call the Haunteds. This could be Oasis of the Dragon Souls as well. I just, I like Call the Haunted because they all have pretty low defense. But what I like about this card is if you have a Barong Engrave, you have this set, they MST this or Twin Twister it. You activate Call the Haunted, Barong comes back out. The chain resolves, Call the Haunted is destroyed, and Call the Haunted then destroys Fire King Avatar Barong, and because he was destroyed by a card effect, you get to search. So that's really why I like Call the Haunted. It also helps push for game under those circumstances. Call the Haunted is just a really good card. 3 copies of any Mirror Force. Right now it's this Mirror Force. I was running Quaking in this spot, but because Lynx can't get flipped face down, I switched it to regular. Storming is okay, but Pendulum Magicians is actually kind of coming along, and I hate storming pendulum cards. It's like, here, activate these cards in your scale if you want to. So it's Mirror Force. It's a regular Mirror Force for now. For the one-ofs, 1 Compulse, 1 TT, and 1 Warning. Compulse could be any trap like it was in my Batteryman deck profile. Torrential, not really. Torrential's really good in this deck because you have a Baron Garunix on the field. You activate Torrential when your opponent summons their 6th monster. They lose their entire field. They have no cards in hand. They pass. You search off Baron and special summon Garunix back. Torrential's so good in this deck. Warning's probably the best trap in the game. And Compulse is decent. Compulse is really good. You can Compulse their Link monster back, so it's decent. Final trap of the deck. 3 copies of Flame Veil Counter. Card of Demise, Fire King of Demise is a deck I've always thought of, like I just said at the start of the video. But realizing the synergy that this card has in this deck, the best opening is Terraforming Tenki. Let's say you open 3 traps with that as well. Because you Terraforming and for Island, Tenki for Yaksha, you activate Island, you pop Yaksha, you add Garunix, you pop Garunix with Yaksha's effect, you set the 3 traps, you activate Card of Demise, and you draw into 3 more cards, preferably a monster and 2 other traps, or like a settable of any sort. And if it's Flame Veil Counter, now this is live. The Flame Veil Counter, what it does, when a spell or trap is activated, banish 1 fire monster with 200 defense from your graveyard, negate the activation. Now, in Flame Veils, it's broken, because I'm pretty sure they have effects when they're banished, or they have effects based off how much they're banished. In this deck, it's good too, because you just Yaksha'd with Island for Garunix, so you have it live and ready to go. And what I really like about Flame Veil Counter is not only can it negate, you know, Raigeki, Pot of Desires, Dark Hole, but it could also negate Solemn Strike, which is so good against this deck. Solemn Strike is so good against this deck. But for the extra deck, it doesn't matter. I like Acid Golem, because he was used in Zexal, pretty cool. Thousand Eye Restricts, one of my favorite monsters. This guy's a boss, man. That's such a good. Go Defender, because he's useless. Just 1. Leviair, because I wanted a rank 3, even though I had a rank 3 with Acid Golem. I don't have a rank 2. I'm really upset about that. Dark Locks, I hate him, especially against this deck. Gem Knight Pearl, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Generations, this is like my boss monster. Cyber Dragon Affinity for the same reason as Crystal Wing. Lyricist Assemble Nightingale, because she is rank 1. Radioactive Ulti Falcon, because he's the boss. Look at this guy. Look how cool he is. Shao Fang, because he was the first synchro I saw. I actually can make this card. Panzer Dragon, he was the first fusion I saw. Link Spider was the first Link I saw. And number 44, Sky Pegasus. This was my boss monster in Dual Generation, I'm telling you. But the extra deck does not matter at all. You're really worried about the main deck. But that's actually it for this deck profile. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I super duper love not just this version of this deck, but this deck in general. But I hope you guys liked it. And I hope you guys have a great day.